everything, and the reason for that was to minimize lawsuits. So the number is significant number now, and certainly less so in private practice.
Valerie?
Well, I'm in a unique position because I've been a district judge for the past 14 years. As a district judge, I've taken it a step further than litigation. I'm actually presiding over criminal and civil cases on a daily basis. Over the last 14 years, I've adjudicated over 50,000 civil, criminal, traffic, and summary, if you include all those cases together. And then as a prosecutor, I don't have an exact number, but I was involved in litigating at that level as well.
Chuck? Please use the microphone. We're recording this, and I just want to be sure that your voices are picked up for the recording.
I had trouble with this too, and I looked up what you mean by a trial, and the definition is a formal examination before a competent tribunal on a matter or issue in question in order to determine the issue. In that regard, in 33 years, I've had hundreds of those situations, and I'm sure everybody out here has had hundreds of those situations. I looked up the computer records, and I think Blaine and I had the most cases on the computer, but I would say hundreds. Thank you.
You pass the mic on down to Tom.
We are the oldest in the room.
Thanks for pointing that out.
You're older than me, Chuck. I'm younger than both, only by 1 year. In 31 years of practice, it would be very, very difficult to calculate numbers like that. But for 19 years, I was what we call an insurance defense lawyer, where I was hired by an insurance company to defend people in litigation. And that number would be in the thousands of cases that were litigated to various stages. As far as actual jury trials and bench trials, it would have to be, I think, in the range that Mr. Black said, because we have equal experience, so he's a year ahead of me, in the 150 to 200 range. Certainly enough to qualify.
Mike?
I too find this question difficult to answer, but what I'm going to limit it to are those cases I've taken to verdict before a jury. There's been a trend both in Washington County and nationwide that we call the disappearing jury trial. So there are not that many every year. What I can say is that just in the brief time I had yesterday, looking around my office in the DA's office, I've tried over 70 criminal cases to verdict. That's jury verdict. And I have over 20 cases to verdict civilly.
All right, the next quick question will go first to Pete, and even less time than the last round. What percentage of your practice is civil versus criminal?
50-50.
Way to go.
It's 50-50.
Lane?
80% civil, 20% criminal.
Alan?
I'm going to say 85% civil, 15% criminal.
Valerie?
I would estimate 70% criminal, 30% civil. Chuck?
I would say, like Blaine, 80% are criminal cases, 80% are civil cases, which include custody, divorce, and civil actions, and 20% are criminal cases.
Tom?
I would say 80% civil. I do other types of work, I do corporate work, so only about 5%.
Mike?
Until last year, when I was appointed first assistant district attorney, it was about 50-50 between civil and criminal, and now I'd say it's 80% criminal and 20% civil.
And Blaine?
90% civil, 10% criminal.
All right. The next question goes first to Lane. Have you ever been disciplined, publicly or privately, for a breach of ethics or unprofessional conduct?
No.
Alan?
Absolutely not.
Valerie?
No.
Absolutely not. I've never even had a complaint filed against me with the disciplinary board in 33 years.
Tom?
No.
Mike?
No.
Blaine?
Never.
Pete?
Never.
All right, next question will go first to Alan. Do you suffer from any impairment of eyesight or hearing or other physical handicap that would impair your ability to perform your judicial duties?
Well, I will say this story since I did the question first, that something did happen to me last year. It was a little strange. That I started not being able to read the newspaper anymore. It started in the summer, and the newspaper kept getting further and further away. And so at some point in time, there was a local funeral director in my office, and I no longer could read, and I had to ask him, Mr. Ely from Fayette City, a little strange thing. I said, Mr. Ely, you're gonna have to read this to me. I can no longer read. So the only impairment I've had recently is I became both nearsighted and farsighted, and now I have to wear bifocal contact lenses, which they actually do exist. And it was a little bit of a challenge to get used to, but that's my only impairment that I had to adjust to reading. With new lenses.
Valerie?
My answer will not be quite so entertaining. My answer is no.
Chuck?
I have that same problem Alan had, and I thought it was from the frack water. Things way out there. My wife will tell you I'm an automaton. I'm like a robot, like the Energizer Bunny. I get 4 hours of sleep. And after 4 hours of sleep, I'm ready to go. And she'll see me banging on the computer at night and doing paperwork at night. No,
All right, okay. Tom?
The answer would be, I had bilateral cataract surgery in the last 2 years. I couldn't believe
Mike?
No.
Blaine?
No impairments. I am diabetic, and I do take medication for that.
Pete?
Nothing that my glasses didn't fix.
Blaine?
No, I'm proud to say I recently lost about 60 pounds, feeling great.
All right, our last question for the quick round will go first to Valerie. Have you ever been arrested, charged, or held by law enforcement authorities for violation of the law, not including traffic violations with fines under $50? If so, please
Well, I'm
describe.
happy to say these questions are much easier than the first round, and the answer is no.
Chuck? Have you ever been arrested, charged, or held by law enforcement authorities for violation of the law?
I thought you said something about traffic.
Not including traffic violations with fines under $50.
Speeding ticket once.
I had a speeding
Mike?
No.
Blaine?
I have not been arrested yet.
Other than a speeding ticket driving to law school 20 or 15 years ago? No.
Mike?
I think I had a speeding ticket, like Mr. Fowler, that was over $50, but it was a long time ago.
Alan?
No.
All right, back to our regular question. And the first question will go first to Lane. These are questions related to how you would promote or enforce civility in your courtroom, and some of you have touched on this a little bit. If an attorney displays a clearly inappropriate bias, like gender bias or racial bias in the courtroom, what should a judge do, if anything? This might be seen in behavior such as calling a female witness by her first name and her male counterpart by his surname.
I think that question goes entirely to judicial temperament and what you expect out of a judge. As far as in my courtroom, things such as that would occur, I believe that the respect that is exhibited in the courtroom and the respect that the judge gives, it should be unconditional.